My name's... well, doesn't matter. I don't like talking about this, but I need to get it out. Me and my cousins, Jake and Sarah, went up to our grandpa's old hunting cabin in the Virginia mountains last summer. He'd died a few months earlier, sudden heart attack or something. He left the cabin to us, so we went to clean and maybe sell it. I don't like the woods. Jake was excited. I wish we never went. We arrived late afternoon after a bumpy dirt road that seemed to go on forever. The cabin was old and wooden, sagging in places, but it looked too tidy. Grass cut, windows clean, porch swept. Grandpa hadn't been there in months, so who was keeping it up? Fresh, deep boot prints marked the mud by the porch. Jake shrugged, saying maybe a neighbor checked it, though the nearest house was miles away. Sarah stayed quiet, chewing her nails. Inside it was unsettlingly perfect. The fridge was humming and stocked. Milk, eggs, even deer meat wrapped tight. The generator out back was running, freshly oiled. I kept thinking this ain't right. Jake found a coffee mug on the counter, still warm. Probably the sun, he said, but his voice shook. Sarah kept pacing, noting the floorboards creaked different than at home. That only made the place feel stranger. We started packing, looking for papers and things to take. That's when we found the basement door, locked with a heavy padlock and no key. Jake is stubborn. He grabbed a crowbar from the shed and pried it open. The stairs smelled of damp earth and something sour. I didn't want to go down, but Sarah was already halfway, flashlight trembling in her hand. At the bottom of the stairs was a small room whose walls were covered with photographs, dozens of them. Hikers, campers, people smiling at trailheads, some staring as if afraid. There were dates on the backs, going back years. Next to the photos was a box of wallets, keys, a woman's scarf, a kid's baseball cap. I recognized some names from missing person posters I'd seen online. My hands were sweating so bad, I dropped the flashlight. Sarah whispered, This was Grandpa?" Jake didn't answer. He stared at one photo of a man in a red jacket dated 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. Grandpa was dead by then. My head spun. I wanted to run, but my legs felt heavy, as if rooted in mud. We grabbed the box and bolted upstairs, slamming the basement door. Then we heard it. A low, slow creak, like someone stepping on the porch. Sarah froze. Jake grabbed a hunting knife from the counter, but his hands shook so badly he could barely hold it. We ran for the car, but all 4 tires were slashed. Clean, razor-like cuts. My heart shot into my throat. Jake kept insisting it was fine, but his voice sounded thin. Sarah cried and said we should have brought her dad's flashlight because it was brighter. Our phones had no signal. We were stuck in the middle of nowhere. Night fell fast, and the woods grew so quiet it felt like the air was holding its breath. We locked the doors and shoved chairs under the handles, but I heard twigs snapping outside. Soft, watchful footsteps. Once, a shadow moved past the living room window, tall and wrong. I didn't tell the others. They were already near breaking. Jake muttered about how Grandpa would disappear into the woods for days and come back with that same strange smile. I remembered Grandpa's old radio that used to play static late at night. We sat up all night, packed close on the couch, flinching at every sound. Around 3 a.m., something scratched at the basement door, slow, deliberate. Nobody moved. My throat closed. Sarah kept whispering, "We gotta go. We gotta go." But go where? The car was ruined. The forest beyond was a black wall. At dawn, we heard a truck engine. A park ranger doing a routine check found us. We told him half-truths about being stranded, but nothing about the photographs or the box. He towed us to town. We never went back. I don't know who kept the cabin so ready, who was carrying on whatever Grandpa had started. Whoever it was knew we were coming. Even now, months later, I flinch when a branch taps my window or when a truck passes at night. It feels like someone is still watching. I've told nobody but you. I don't think I ever will again. You know how sometimes you get this weird feeling when you're alone? Like, someone's watching you even though nobody's there? Yeah. Well, this happened to me last spring and I still can't sleep right. I was doing this geology thing for college up in West Virginia, collecting rock samples and checking old mining sites. My professor mentioned an abandoned coal mine about 3 miles off the trail that nobody had studied. Perfect for my paper, he said. I should have picked something else. The hike seemed normal. My backpack kept sliding because I packed water wrong. The mine entrance was bigger than I expected, like a giant mouth in the hillside. A rusty sign read, "Danger, do not enter," but it looked ancient. I had a headlamp, GPS, a satellite phone, safety stuff. My mom made me promise to bring the sat phone since cell service sucks out there. I'm glad she did. The first tunnels were what you'd expect. Rotting beams, puddles, echoes when you drop something. I took pictures and notes. Then I noticed odd things. Newer tarps covered some areas. The air deeper in smelled different, not just musty, but like cooking or wood smoke. I thought it was my imagination. About an hour in, a cleared side tunnel had neatly piled debris. My headlamp caught something shiny. A Pepsi can, not rusty, fresh. Then I heard voices. Quiet, from deeper in. People whispering. I assumed other researchers, but their whispering felt wrong. I should have left. But I was curious and stupid. I followed the voices, trying to be quiet. The tunnel opened into a huge chamber. Someone had built a living space. Sleeping bags, chairs, a fire ring with stones. Shelves held cans and bottled water. It looked like people had lived there for years. There were piles of stuff everywhere. Backpacks, hiking boots, cameras, phones, dozens. I picked up a phone whose case matched my sister's. The voices approached. I clicked off my headlamp and hid, but 3 people rounded the corner. A tall, thin man with a scraggly beard, a woman with cold eyes, and someone younger. They stopped when they saw me. "Well, shit," the man said. "Looks like we got ourselves a problem." The woman stared. The younger one grinned in a way that made my skin crawl. "Please," I said, voice shaking. "I'm just doing research for school. I won't tell anyone." The man laughed. "Research, huh? What kind of research?" He pointed at my GPS. "That thing tracks location?" I nodded. "And that?" He pointed at my sat phone. I nodded again. They exchanged looks without speaking. Then the woman said, "Can't let him leave." That's when I ran. I grabbed my gear and sprinted back toward the main tunnel. But they knew the mine better than I knew my own house. Every turn I tried, they were ahead or behind me. The younger one laughed, a high, creepy sound that echoed. I got lost fast. The tunnels all looked the same in my headlamp beam, and panic set in. I found more of their stolen gear: tents, wallets, sleeping bags. I even found a driver's license from 2019, Sarah Martinez from Ohio. I wondered if she ever made it home. For 3 hours, I played a horrible game of hide and seek. They weren't rushing. They were hunting me, taking their time. I finally squeezed through a narrow crack to an old air shaft that led up. Climbing rusty rungs cut my hands, but I escaped to the surface about a mile from where I'd entered. I ran to my car and drove to the nearest police station. The next day, a search team found the living space and the stolen gear. But the family was gone. Vanished, like they'd never been there. Police said those people had been suspects in a violent crime downstate and had been on the run for almost 15 years. The stolen gear belonged to 43 missing hikers and campers. Most were never found. The police listened, polite but strained. Faces grew quiet as I described the living space and the piles of gear. They organized a search, cataloged what they found, and promised an investigation. But the family had vanished. Sitting in a fluorescent room afterward, I felt hollow, like something from the mine had followed me. I now check shadows and carry antiseptic wipes and bandages. My sat phone stays in the glove box whether I need it or not. My professor emailed for updates. I couldn't finish the paper. My mom cried and hugged me until my chest hurt. Sometimes I replay the younger one's grin and that high laugh. I tell myself it was adrenaline and isolation. But when a distant sound cuts the trees, I still freeze and remember the tunnels. I haven't hiked the same since. I don't usually talk about this. It's hard to even think about. I'm a nurse. Travel around for work, you know? Last spring, I was driving through Kentucky, taking a shortcut to get to my next job. GPS said it'd save me an hour, but man, I wish I stuck to the main roads. My car broke down, middle of nowhere, just trees and hills. I saw this little medical clinic, not even on my map. Looked old, like it didn't belong there. I keep thinking about how my sister's old pickup used to rattle when she drove me to school. This was worse. I walked up, nervous, 'cause it was getting dark. This doctor, real friendly guy, maybe too friendly, came out. Said his name was Dr. Ellis, offered to look at my car. Said he runs this clinic for poor folks in the mountains, free checkups and stuff. I thought, okay, nice guy, right? He invited me to stay the night, said it wasn't safe to be out here alone. The waiting room smelled like bleach, too strong, like they were hiding something. One of the chairs had a stain, looked like someone spilled coffee and didn't clean it right. Inside, I saw patients, maybe 10 or 12, sitting quiet. Too quiet. Their eyes, they just stared, like they were scared to blink. Some had bandages, fresh ones, on their arms or sides. I'm a nurse, I know surgery scars, but these looked wrong, messy. I asked Dr. Ellis about it, and he laughed, said, "Oh, just minor procedures." His smile didn't match his eyes. I kept thinking about how my mom's old sewing machine used to jam up, made this awful grinding noise. That's how my head felt, stuck, trying to figure this out. He showed me to a back room, said I could sleep there. That's when I saw it. A locked door with a sign that said storage. I heard a moan from behind it, low, like someone trying not to cry. I didn't say nothing, just nodded when Dr. Ellis told me to rest. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped my phone trying to check for signal. Nothing. Dead. I kept thinking, maybe I should have packed that extra charger I left on my dresser. Middle of the night, I snuck out to check my car. Hood was up, wires cut clean, like someone knew exactly what to break. I heard footsteps behind me, gravel crunching slow. I ducked behind the car, heart pounding like crazy. Someone walked past, carrying a bag that clinked, like glass vials or something. I didn't see their face. Back inside, I pretended to sleep, but I couldn't. Those patients, their eyes, they kept watching me, like they knew something I didn't. Next morning, Dr. Ellis was all smiles again. Said he needed an assistant, kept talking about how I'd be perfect for the job. I saw files on his desk, patient records, but not normal ones. Lists of organs, dates, prices. My head went blank. I realized, these people, they weren't just patients. They were experiments. Homeless folks, addicts, people nobody'd miss. I saw a syringe in his pocket, and I swear one of the patients flinched when he walked by. I played along, said I'd think about the job, kept smiling, even though I wanted to scream. I slipped out to the bathroom, found a window, small, but I squeezed through, cutting my arm on the frame. Didn't care. Ran into the woods, no shoes, just socks, 'cause I'd left my sneakers by the bed. Kept hearing branches snap behind me like someone was following, but I didn't look back. Found a road after hours, flagged down a trucker. He didn't ask questions, just drove me to town. I never told the cops. Didn't know how to explain it without sounding crazy. That clinic, it's still out there, I bet. I drive the long way now, always. Sometimes I wake up at night, hearing that moan from behind the storage door. I check my locks twice, every night. Don't know if Dr. Ellis is looking for me. Don't want to find out.